Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Cross and Kin in the Cross and Kin Garage. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy. Happy New Year.
Welcome back to Cross and Kin. We hope you had a wonderful New Year, and today we are going to kind of share one of our favorite New Year's traditions with you guys. As I think we've talked about before on this show, every year we pick a film series to watch, and we watch it to midnight. I'm in charge of making the list.
She checks it twice, if I can
do.
borrow a phrase.
I tally up the hours.
Kristen has a distinct count of how many hours that we need to be viewing, and we still get the opportunity to enjoy a film franchise that we wouldn't normally just sit down and watch the entirety of.
So today we are going to be counting down the top 20, that's right, 20 film franchises based on our opinions. Now, there were a couple of rules for this. One, the series had to have 4 or more films set in the same universe. Also, we had to have seen all of the films, or at least the biggest majority of them.
So there may be some film franchises that you have seen that we haven't. I mean, that's the beauty of everybody having their own opinion. Is there are films out there like horror genres that we're Friday the 13th. We're just not going to do that. We don't enjoy those kind of films. Perhaps you do, and that's great. That's fine. Maybe those are the films that you pick. But we'd highly recommend this as a family tradition, especially if you have older children in the home, teenagers who are going to probably want to be up until midnight, and old folks who challenge accepted. We're going to rock and roll into midnight if we can, and still enjoy a vast filmography. Now, I will say one thing: Kristen has done a very, very good job, and our family, to a certain extent, of being very eclectic. We have everything from the 40s and 50s franchises all the way up into the newest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a wide variety of things, and we'll see if those make this list. This is just a great list for you guys if you want to start this tradition.
All right, we've got 20 of these bad boys to get through, so
Let's
get
going.
All right, at number 20, we have The Thin Man. It is a 4 or 5 film franchise from the 40s and early 50s.
Maybe early 50s.
Daddy, you want to tell us about these cats?
Absolutely. Myrna Loy and William Powell are these uber wealthy, aristocratic New Englanders who love to party. At least in the initial first 2. And William Powell's character has been a detective before, and everybody thinks that he is still on a case and everything. It is comedic. It is stand-up comedy.
They're Nick and Nora, right?
Nick and Nora Charles. That's right. Nick and Nora Charles, which also had another film called Nick and Nora, made out of the 70s, 80s, somewhere along in there. I've not seen it, so I can't speak to it, but I can about The Thin Man. If you like a good mystery, Perry Mason-ish type solving the crime where you gather all of the suspects in one room and you say, "This is the killer," all of these Thin Man movies are it. And also, if you want to go back to a time in Hollywood where luxury and banality, if you will, to a certain extent, just the uber rich. This portrays that in kind of a tongue-in-cheek way as well.
And I will say, I think a lot of the mystery tropes that are very prevalent in detective movies now kind of spawned from The Thin Man.
I would agree with that.
Okay, at number 19, we have the Jack Ryan franchise. I believe these are up to 5-ish.
This is not including the Jack Ryan series on Amazon. This is just the films that were major motion pictures in the theaters.
Yes.
We've got Harrison Ford. We've got
Alec
Baldwin. We've
got
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck and
Chris
Pine now. So you've got 4 different actors who've played the titular role, and they're all, if you want to see the inner workings of government, if you want to see kind of shadow things going on, these are great films. The Hunt for Red October was the very first one. All-star cast.
It is a fantastic film. I will tell you this. Don't judge it on its CGI. We watched this for New Year's a few years ago. It was the first time I'd ever seen Hunt for Red October. And at one point, a missile blips in and out because it's a CGI missile and it blips. It very noticeably blips out of frame. It's so funny.
It's okay. It's all right. You got to remember, this was the 80s. Harrison Ford in several of the films as well. Harrison Ford. What else do you need to say?
Yeah, and then Ben Affleck is Sum of All Fears.
Yes, Ben Affleck is Sum of All Fear. Chris Pine is just Jack Ryan.
Yeah. I think he might have had a subtitle, but honestly, I don't remember what the subtitle was.
They're all good films, and they make for a lot of espionage type fun.
All right, coming in at number 18, we have Die Hard. Now, we've talked about Die Hard before on this show. See somewhere above our heads our recast it of the first Die Hard film. That was like only our second recast we'd
Right.
ever
Let's
done.
substantiate this for once and for all. It is
Die
a
Hard is a
Christmas
Christmas
movie.
The first two are Christmas
Absolutely.
movies.
Yep.
The first two are very much Christmas movies.
Well, they have become one of our Christmas traditions.
Yes, they have.
Sort of hate to say it, but it's reality. But there's only 8 gazillion Die Hard movies now, and as Bruce Willis has
Retired.
deteriorated and retired, and you see a decline going on there. These are really films that that pay tribute to an actor in his stride.
Yeah.
In a character he defines, and in a character that he hones. I would say all the way through the franchise. I mean, it would have been very easy for him to phone it in the last one.
He never does.
But he doesn't. And
he's always having such fun.
The writers and directors always surround him with such good other characters.
We've got Samuel L. Jackson. We've got Jai Courtney. We've got Reginald Val Johnson.
Justin Long later on. And then his grown-up daughter as well. And so you see a progression from the first film all the way to the last film that really sets up well for a New Year's Eve viewing.
Yeah, we love the Die Hard franchise. If you need a series of mindless explosions, Die Hard is the series for you.
Don't watch it with your kids.
No.
It is rated R for a reason. Make sure that you have adult children who watch it with you, but we can't recommend it for teenagers either. So,
all right, at number 17, we have the Rocky / Creed franchises. Now we're putting these two together because it is very much the same universe. Creed is a beautiful sequel to the Rocky series, and I think Michael B. Jordan did a great job with it. And Rocky, like, what can you say about Rocky?
It's Sylvester Stallone writing, creating, directing
the first film, at least.
His one of the very first things he had ever done, and it's Oscar worthy.
Oh man!
I mean, it's so good as a drama, and if you like the sport of boxing. Yeah, maybe. But the drama itself is great.
The fifth film, by Stallone's own admission, is the weakest, but it is so well redeemed by Rocky Balboa, which is the sixth film,
right?
And then the 3 Creed films.
Yep.
Like I said, Michael B. Jordan beat with Rocky as his Mickey. Oh my goodness. Up next, we have number 16, and it is Lethal Weapon.
Well, Mel Gibson, again, another actor in his prime, in a role that really does, yes, Mad Max, absolutely, yes. But I've not seen Mad Max.
Neither have I.
And so all of the things that have come off of that, that's one of those film franchises that we've not seen. So we can't speak to that. However, we can speak to Lethal Weapon and the characters that it introduces, and just the continuity between all of the films. And you see Riggs and Murtaugh grow up and grow old together.
Supposedly, we're getting a Lethal Weapon 5 with both actors returning sometime in 2025, 2026. Last I saw, they were filming it. I think they may have had to have a pause because one of them either had health issues or had another film they needed to do.
Mel Gibson's working on the sequel to The Passion of the Christ.
So that might have been the other
stalling thing.
But last check, they were planning on the series going again. So
watch out for a new Lethal Weapon coming to a multiplex near you.
All right. Coming in at number 15, we have Oceans. So this is Oceans 11, Oceans 12, Oceans 13, and Oceans 8.
Now, before we go on, we're talking about the modern iterations.
Yes, not the Rat Pack version from the 60s.
Which is dreamy for that. If you want to get a time capsule of that age, If you want to get a close up again of Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra,
Sammy
Joey Bishop,
Davis.
Sammy Davis Jr. in their prime and in their movie prime, go and watch it. We don't include it because Kristen's never seen it top to
Yeah.
bottom.
I've,
So
I've tried, but every time I try, I get interrupted. So we're talking about the George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon,
right,
Julia Roberts, Don Cheadle, Scott Conn, Casey Affleck,
it's just an all-star cast.
all-star
And the
cast
ladies version later on.
with Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Aquafina, Mindy Kaling, Rihanna, many, many others.
Many others.
It's such a solid franchise.
It is
like,
a franchise.
That's something I can say about the Ocean's movies. It barely squeaks in as a franchise for our list because of Ocean's 8. It
Right.
helped it make our list today, but like I don't think there's a bad one. Yes, in my opinion, Ocean's 12 is the weakest of the bunch, but it's not bad.
But it pays an homage back to the original
Mhm.
and the heyday of Vegas being Sin City. And it's so formulaic. Each one of them follow the formula well enough with their own kind of tangents off to the side and everything, making them their own. Absolutely. And the cinematography is beautiful.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to Las Vegas, but you do want to know about Las Vegas, these are great films for you.
Just wonderful little heist movies. Also, I have to thank Oceans because without Oceans, we would not have Leverage.
If you're not sure what Leverage is, go check out our Dean demo and also go to who's streaming it now? Amazon streaming
Amazon Prime.
Leverage and Leverage Redemption. Start at the beginning and go to the end.
We're in the middle of binging it now.
Again, if you're looking for something to binge, that's a television show. Fantastic cast. They're characters we have fallen in love with, and it's very Ocean-esque.
All right. Number 14, we have X-Men, the Fox X-Men franchise. Yes. Okay, this is including all of them. Yes, the timeline is bad. The timeline is confusing as all get out. But these movies are fun as heck.
Just imagine that everyone's in a different universe.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
We have so many timelines going right now, it doesn't matter. But in theory, the Fox X-Men are all in one timeline. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to. We're having a great time with it.
Would you include Deadpool and Wolverine in on the X-Men films?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say there are parts of each section because let's be honest, this franchise is broken up in sections. We've got the main trilogy, we've got the Logan Wolverine by himself spin-offs, and then we've got the prequels, and then we've got Deadpool. There are movies in each of those that are just amazing.
Yeah,
and bounds incredible. Days of Future Past with the prequels, probably X2 with the originals. Logan, I guess, is everybody's for the Wolverines, and then Deadpool and Wolverine, duh.
Yeah.
Because it is the send-off to the Fox.
The good thing about the X-Men franchise, if you wanted to, each of them have their own series within the series. So you wouldn't have to watch the entirety of the X-Men universe.
Just pick a trilogy and go from there.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
all right.
Good films.
Moving right along, we have Ghostbusters!
Not the chick one.
Not the chick one. We're not including the Melissa McCarthy one. It does not have any connection to the main universe.
Plus, I haven't seen it.
Plus, we haven't seen it. The clips I've seen, but the four that we're talking about are the original two, and then Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Those last two have really solidified the Ghostbusters franchise for a new generation, and they have introduced new characters while giving throwbacks to the 80s films. I can't wait to see what they do with the next iteration of that. If they close it out with a third part, if they're planning on several more films.
Somewhere the other day that Sony is kind of hoping to turn Ghostbusters into the next Spider-Verse, so we might be starting to get like other ghostly dimensions, which may be how they try to tie in the Melissa McCarthy
that's a good idea, yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Just give Melissa McCarthy a better script, please.
Right.
She's
such
a great
actress.
actress.
She's a phenomenal actress.
And the other ladies that were part of that.
Yes.
that they are all such good actresses. They deserved a much better script.
The only reason we're even talking about it is we heard that we just read the reviews and the
Mhm.
reviews were not nice.
But the other 4 films, yes, Ghostbusters 2 is a little weird. They were trying to make it like the cartoon and kind of capitalize on how big the cartoons were at that
Yeah.
time. But Afterlife and Frozen Empire, my word, I was enthralled with both of them.
Absolutely wonderful.
Also, just fair warning, if you watch Afterlife into the end credits, that credit song will be stuck in your head for 3 months. We can attest.
We can attest. And it was in our, was it not in our
It was our spooky songs.
Spooky songs list.
Spooky
Our
songs
13
list.
spooky songs list. So,
all right, moving right along. At number 12, we have Pirates of the Caribbean. Or Caribbean, depending on how you pronounce it. Jack Sparrow. Captain Jack Sparrow.
Captain.
Savvy. I mean, what can you say about these films? There are 5 of them now.
They're fun. I mean, they're really fun, especially the first one and the third one.
4th one.
You know, I mean, they're just, yes, they're like any other film franchise. You are going to have some letdowns. There's going to be a sophomore blunder every once in a while. But Johnny Depp is just delicious as this character. He's just phenomenal in the role. And he has created from a Disney ride a franchise and a piratey universe.
Of billions, worth billions.
Worth billions.
It's delightful. As Dad said, it's delicious, and we love taking our trips into Pirates of the Caribbean.
It is one of those that you just can let your mind go and not worry about anything.
Yes.
And you're fine. You can keep up.
At number 11, we have pretty much the polar opposite of Pirates. We have Jason Bourne, the most realist, gritty, blah of all the series. It's fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it is very set in like the hardcore spy genre.
It is deep cover spy, mind game, mind blowing. It's creepy at times, and it's also one of those films you really don't want to watch with children.
Yeah.
Teenage adults, please, yes, definitely, but they are gripping. They are those films that you can just relax and watch and be in awe, but you do have to pay a little more attention with them than you do Pirates of the Caribbean.
It gave Matt Damon his career. It also gave Jeremy Renner something to do outside of Hawkeye there for a hot minute, and then Damon came back in. I'm still waiting. I'm still very patiently waiting for the Jeremy Renner Matt Damon team up, which I don't think is ever going to happen. Right now, it feels like the Bourne franchise is kind of done.
It's pretty done.
I feel like Jason Bourne ended it pretty well.
Yeah. The one thing about it is you do have to remember that this is taken from a series of books by Robert Ludlum, and that the books, which I've never read, I've got them, but they're here in the Crossing King garage somewhere. But
Katie read one of them, and she said it was really good.
So it's just
outside of some language. She said there was adult content, so do not let children, teenagers, adults only get the books.
Also, I mean, if you don't like watching movies, perhaps you read a book series that are movies based off of them.
All right.
Bond, James Bond. Sorry.
Not yet.
I digress.
All right, we've reached the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. So coming in at number 10, we have Jurassic Park. Sorry.
Well,
I do it.
Jurassic Park.
Thank you. You do a much better impression of him than I do. What is there to say? Its CGI still holds up really, really, really well. It's got the John Williams score.
And dinosaurs eating people.
It's got fantastic actors. Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the old boy. Who's the old boy?
Atherton.
William?
Richard
Attenborough.
We'll get there.
Richard Attenborough.
We had to go to Rosebud to do it, but we got there. So
and several other actors serving as supporting cast, but those are kind of the core 4 in the first film. The second film more follows Goldblum. Then we go back to Sam Neill, and then the rest of the franchise follows a completely different set of characters, but we are still in the same universe.
Star-Lord taming dinosaurs.
Hey, it's fantastic. And then we come back around with Dominion?
Yes.
And have everybody back together.
I came to the series late. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I was running a rental video store at the time, and we couldn't keep it in even after it had been out 7 or 8 years, the originals. And so apparently people just like to see people getting eaten by dinosaurs. So, but it is one of those films that the idea behind it is engaging.
It's from a book by
Yes,
Michael
by
Crichton, which
Michael
I have
Crichton.
read the book. If you're really into science, you will love the book. If you're not into science, it is a little bit harder to get through.
You
I
do.
will not lie.
Michael Crichton, if you read him, you do need to be a science nerd. I mean, you
Yeah.
really do. He's a
Very
harder read.
technical.
He is not one of these for a rainy afternoon if
Mm-mm.
you just want a cup of coffee and a book. No.
Mm-mm. But the book being a little dry for my taste does not take away from the wonderfulness that is this franchise.
We do have to say, however, that we cannot watch it as a part of our New Year's celebration
No,
because not everyone in our family is down with dinosaurs eating
No.
people.
I am slowly but surely getting Katie through the franchise, but I don't think we'll ever get Mom.
And that's fine. It's not for everyone. Jurassic Park isn't for everyone.
It is as close to a horror movie as we will ever
That
get.
is absolutely true. I mean, that is maybe Jaws, but Kristen
No,
hadn't
thank you.
seen that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I close my eyes every time I hear that sound.
All right. Coming in at number 9, we're kind of sticking with the John Williams score here. We have Indiana Jones.
Anyway,
Yes.
Harrison Ford, we talked about him before. I mean, what more do you have to say? As far as an actor goes, he is the quintessential hero character of I'll say it, our generation. I mean, he was certainly ours in the 80s. Then he comes around and reinvents himself as Jack Ryan, and he keeps putting out Indiana Jones films.
Until
Those last two
he's
were
100.
wow.
Like, they're gonna try to milk him for all he's worth, and apparently he's got a really good video game coming out in 2025.
That does
Everything
look
I've
intriguing,
read,
yes.
his newest video, the Indiana Jones video game that's coming out in 2025, looks very good. But none of that spin-off material would be possible without the 5 films.
Exactly.
Like Dad said, the last 2 were, which is why he's so down low on this list. If we were just talking the trilogy, Indy would be much nearer the top. But because of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and
the time traveling one.
yeah.
Just call it what it is. Which are the last 2 are really closer to what George Lucas and Steven Spielberg wanted to.
No, it's closer to what George Lucas
Okay,
wanted.
let's call it what it is. Yes, George Lucas, Star Wars dude. Okay, he really wanted Indy to be a little more science fiction-y.
And Spielberg reined him in and it was like action adventure.
Thank you,
Action
Mr.
adventure.
Spielberg.
Yes. Like, where were you on 4 and 5, dude? But anyway, Indy is still good. We did enjoy the last 2.
Yes, and it would not keep us, the last 2 films would not keep us from watching the film franchise.
Recommending it to
Right,
all
absolutely.
of you. Obviously, it is here in our top 10 for a very good reason.
It is a popcorn movie. Get your popcorn, get your soda or your favorite beverage, whatever you drink with your popcorn, and enjoy.
All right, coming in at number 8, we have The Wizarding World. So this is Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
You also need 8 days to watch through this series, too. No, that's an exaggeration.
No,
I'm sorry.
it's actually not. All of the Harry Potter movies clock in total at about 25 plus hours, and the Fantastic Beasts franchise is at 7.
Are they going to make another one?
No.
No, Fantastic Beasts really is over?
Yep.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
That is a shame.
Well, here's the thing. They got a little bit bogged down in the Wizarding War instead of letting Eddie Redmayne just have fun and finding creatures.
Yeah.
Like, if they just let Eddie Redmayne run around and find creatures, it would have been grand, but they wanted to play plot lines.
Well, and there's still rumors that there's going to be another Harry Potter movie.
HBO is about to be doing a Harry Potter series on Max.
Yeah.
So we're about to get a reboot of Harry Potter, but nothing will ever beat the beauty and charm of Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint as Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the magical Hogwarts castle fighting Ralph Fiennes and Alan Rickman and Helena Bonham Carter. Like, you cannot overemphasize how big of a pop cultural touchstone.
Without doubt.
See the giant castle in Orlando.
Right.
At Universal Studios for proof of how huge this franchise is.
And go look at how many copies of Harry Potter are available on eBay.
I mean,
And we sold literally a gazillion of them at the aforementioned store that I managed back in the 90s. And it was, Kristen's absolutely right. It is iconic. It situated itself as one of those things that came out of the 90s, like grunge music, I suppose, that became extremely iconic. I wanted circle glasses all the time anyway. But it's one of those, and it's, we have to say this too. It's good to see those actors
mhm.
finding roles
Oh,
now
they're still
that where
getting
they're not
roles.
typecast
Yes,
as Harry,
as
Hermione,
wizards. Yeah,
and
wrong.
Ron. So
Yeah, the three core, the core three, the golden trio, that's what
right,
they're called. They're all still acting. I think Emma is getting a little bit more into like British politics or something like that, kind of advocating for women's rights and stuff, which good for her. You do you, my dear. But Daniel and Rupert are still very actively acting and they're doing a great job. Daniel just actually won a Tony Award, I believe, his very first Tony Award. So well done, Daniel. We're very proud of you. But yeah, the Harry Potter franchise, it is iconic. It is beautiful. The Fantastic Beasts series is a beautiful little prequel to it. I
absolutely.
still believe they shouldn't have focused quite so much on the Wizarding War and literally just let Eddie Redmayne be the cute little teddy bear that he is, running around being Hagrid, the original. But I mean, I still love him and the franchise or the series for what it
We would
is.
go see another Fantastic Beasts film
Absolutely.
if it came out. So
Absolutely. But
perhaps you would too.
so yeah, let us know. Let us know if the Fantastic Beasts movies are underrated in your opinion.
While you're waiting, though, catch all six Harry Potters and then the two
Eight.
Fantastic Eight.
Eight. There are 7 books, 8 movies, and then the 3 Fantastic
I
Beasts.
ran out of fingers. Let me take my shoes off real quick.
No, we're
No,
good.
okay,
We're good.
all right. Great film, great film series.
All right, at number 7, the king of turn your mind off and just have a good time, the Fast and the Furious franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, at the start of the series, yes, it is a car thing. If you're into cars, this is the series for you. Literally after number 2, though, no, no. Turn your brain off. Things explode. We're fighting the Rock. We're fighting what's his name? Statham, Jason Statham. Now we're jumping out of planes. Oh look, a tank, submarine.
Oh, look, we're in space.
A giant dam is about to come kill us, and Aquaman made it blow up. Like this series.
We're ready for the next film. Don't get us wrong. It is escapism
Series.
at your best, especially like Kristen said. After the first couple, when you really kind of get away from the races in the streets, and you get down to, oh, these are bad guys turning into good guys, sort of turning into good guys, and bringing in more good guys, and family. It's
Family.
family. So you have to love and embrace what,
The
but it does.
insanity.
It is
Embrace the insanity.
it is escapism at its absolute fantastical best, and we can't wait for number 11.
Cannot. I really hope they find a way to keep it going. Not with Vin Diesel and The Rock. Like, give it a little break. Those guys are, despite the movies telling us they are both immortal and invulnerable, they are going to break eventually.
Well,
So,
and I mean, part of the intrigue has been the off-screen drama that's
oh
going on
gosh.
amongst
You know
some
what?
of the actors.
Money, money, money. They're
I
all
mean,
together for 11. Apparently, Universal ponied up enough money.
they must have watched Jerry Maguire. Show me the
Show me
money,
the money. But we are so excited for 11. I think it's going to
without
be
doubt.
2026. And I think 11 is going to be the last one. But I've heard rumors that 11 is going to be broken up into 2 parts. So it'll actually be 12. I thought
10 was supposed to be
yeah,
two.
I know. It keeps changing. It changes every time they ask Vin Diesel about it.
Welcome to Hollywood, folks.
But yeah, Fast and the Furious, turn your brain off and have a good time.
They are not based off of any book that we're aware of.
No. They are based off of a concussion dream Vin Diesel had.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, coming in at number 6, we have Star Trek. And we are talking all the Star Trek. Now, yes, shut up. I know I'm breaking my own rules, but there was some timey-wimey stuff, and now Chris Pine is Kirk.
And a beautiful, beautiful iteration of James Tiberius Kirk. I think that's one of the cool things that the Kelvin timeline has done is give us backstory on all of these beloved OG characters that we've just, my generation embraced coming out of the 3 seasons that the original
And
television show had.
6 movies?
Yeah,
Six
6 or 8
movies?
movies at this point. So it just depends upon whether you count the next gen movies that crossed
I
over,
keep
and
forgetting that the next
you
gen
know
movies
the
exist.
next gen movies are there. And Tammy and I can remember we were living in Florida when Next Generation came out, and we were so excited. Here is more Star Trek. These are great, again, escapism films. There's a great debate amongst OG versus Kelvin timeline versus next gen versus.
Versus DS9
There's
versus
just, yeah, I
Voyager
mean, you get into the
versus
TV shows.
Enterprise.
I mean, it is a
Who's the
vast.
best captain? Who's the best number one?
It's a vast universe. And if you just take the movies in their thing, you really do need to do the last three, the Kelvin timeline, in its own series, because it does a great job of developing that backstory and developing those characters. The original 6, 7, 8, however many of
I think there were
there
only
were.
six
um,
in with the just the original cast, and then there were like three next generation movies.
Okay, so that makes 9 of those. So, I mean, break those up into a series if you want to watch them all, binge them all, and
They're
decide
available
for
on
yourself.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah,
So
all
go
of
to
it.
Paramount Plus and just find all the Star Trek. Have a great month of Star Trek.
Well, not only that, but if you really want to just dive into Star Trek, start now with the OG series and then just follow it along. Take the next year. And I'm sure Wikipedia or the internet somewhere can give you a complete timeline of the Star Trek.
To give you a complete timeline.
We don't have time
do
for
that
that because we've got more to count
Yep,
down.
we've got 5 more.
Star Trek, phenomenal series.
All right, coming in at number 5, we have Mission Impossible.
Dun, 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 dun. Based off of the 60s television, 60s, early 70s
Which
television
the first
show.
movie, actually, I remember you telling me this. The first movie made you mad because the original character the one original character they brought over is the bad guy, John Voight.
Yeah, John Voight's character played the Peter Graves character, and he became the bad guy. No diehard Mission Impossible fan is going to stand for that. I'm so glad that they have taken the Tom Cruise role, Ethan Hunt, and made him the hero. I'm still a little aggravated. Just a little bit aggravated.
We watch that movie.
It just
he sits there with his arms crossed,
and I pout
pouting.
because it's just it's a disservice to the original series, I think. But anyway, we're here now at like number
8.
It's coming out soon, and
Well,
the
technically
series.
it's 7 part 2.
Yeah, it's an incredible Tom Cruise doing his own stunts. The cast that they have put together, especially in the last 4 or
Simon
5.
Pegg and Ving Rhames.
Absolutely, those guys, and more recently now they've added a lady from The Greatest Showman,
Rebecca
Ferguson,
and Palm Clementif.
Yes.
And Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell. I am curious to see what they do going forward with Haley Atwell. If she is going to be the continuation of the series, because Tom Cruise is an old dude.
He's only a couple of years older or younger than you, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he's close to my age. And, dude, props to you doing some of that stuff yourself. Great shape. I mean, it's.
He scares me. One of these days, like, it is my deep fear. I'm gonna wake up one morning to the headline: Tom Cruise dead in stunt gone wrong.
Well, but I mean that's certainly possible in anything.
That's how he wants to go out. I'm guaranteeing.
Mission Impossible is that escapism movie with a actual plot line.
Yes.
And that's not a ding.
Way to put it.
That is not a ding on Fast and Furious. But Mission Impossible is a good dramatic series with a escapism and plot line.
Still hoping they find a way to bring Rebecca Ferguson back.
I would love to see that, and spin
the 3 girls off. Let them play Mission Impossible
absolutely. For a bit. You bet. Let Ethan Hunt take over and just be the director thing.
All right. Coming in at number 4, Daddy, please don't hurt my ears. We have James Bond.
James.
Okay, last time we did a Bond thing, you.
What can I mean?
We already talked about how much we love Bond in a couple of places. We have
Amazon, get your stuff together.
Yeah, if they haven't announced the next Bond by the time of this video airing, I think my dad might blow a gasket.
I read an article the other day on Fox News that said Amazon and Eon and MGM cannot come to terms on what Bond looks like going forward. And Barbara Broccoli has basically told them bad things. And it breaks my heart because this is the franchise of all franchises.
Yeah, this is the granddaddy
what
franchise.
number for us?
4.
It's number 4 for us. Trust me, I fought for it to be higher than that, but
Roger Moore drag it down.
Roger Moore drug it down. Daniel Craig drug it down just a little bit.
I wasn't going there.
Well, I did. It's not Bond, but anyway, and
You
really
see Bond ranking to hear that dad's disdain of Mr. Craig.
that is the argument between Barbara Broccoli and Amazon. Amazon wants to bring Bond into the next generation. Barbara Broccoli is like, James Bond is a Brit, he's a man, and he's a white man. And he's a British secret agent.
And the thing is, a lot of the actors they've asked about it, women, people of color, they're like, Bond's a white British dude.
Exactly. I mean, Ian Fleming wrote him as a 6-foot, black-haired, cigarette smoking, martini swilling, just shaken not stirred, Walther PPK toting.
If you cannot tell, my father is deeply passionate about Bond, and this is a rant for another day.
Okay, moving along.
But
Number
Bond
4
is really, really good,
and it would take you a couple of days. So if you're going to ever use this,
we are at 54 hours plus.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, break it up by actor.
And that's the best thing is break it down by actor and
Put
add
George with Sean.
George Lazenby with Sean Connery's films, which George Lazenby, sir, congratulations. That really was a good Bond pick. We've talked about that before, though. Yep. Go see our Bond countdown.
All right, coming in at number 3, we have The Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit. So let's just call it Middle Earth. We have the Middle Earth Tolkien verse. This is the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy.
So, do we include
Rings of Power?
Rings of Power.
We've not been including TV shows thus far, so let's just stick to the films for now.
Perfect. Now, here, let's understand something. The extended versions of Lord of the Rings
and
The Hobbit are really, really the way you need to view these films. They add anywhere from 30 to 45 more minutes per film.
Return of the King's case, I think.
Hour to, and the cinematography, they are well worth the watch. Now, I don't know that they actually add much to the storyline, also based off of an incredible book series.
Yes.
You should go and read these. They're hard reads. They are not the rainy afternoon, cloudy day, cup of coffee type books to sit and
get the audiobook version by Andy Serkis.
Yes.
It is available on Audible. I've looked. Andy Serkis does an audiobook of Lord of the Rings. And if it's anything like his audiobook of The Hobbit, which I've listened to, he does voices.
Andy Serkis plays Gollum in the Lord of the
Towers,
Rings.
Hobbit, and Return of the Kings.
Makes it. Steals the show in a lot of ways, in my opinion. But
I think he was the pioneer of mocap for this series.
Doubt.
And Andy Serkis is still the pioneer of mocap. I think he has a whole company dedicated to mocap.
Peter Jackson, brilliant.
This franchise is gorgeous, and it is still ongoing. I believe the Search for Gollum is going to start filming this year. And as far as I know, Ian McKellen, Orlando Bloom, and Andy Serkis are all on board.
They better, because they're not getting any younger.
And I think Peter Jackson is on board to direct. Andy might be directing.
Is that a redemption story for Gollum?
It is them looking for Gollum before Gandalf goes to get Frodo.
Gotcha.
To get him to go and get the ring.
Gotcha. Okay.
I do not know any part of this plot line.
It's new.
I think it might be taken from an appendice, but you know what? Whatever it takes to get Ian McKellen back in his hat, Andy Serkis back in his mocap, and Orlando Bloom back in his blonde wig, I'm here for it.
One add-on, we highly recommend the biopic called Tolkien.
Yes.
That Nicholas Hoult plays the titular character. Highly, highly, highly recommend that biopic if you like those kinds of films.
Mm-hmm.
It gives some thought processes to where Middle Earth came from.
Yeah.
So
All
Lord
right.
of the Rings number 3.
Yep.
Wow, what can be number 2 and 1?
Well, at number 2, we have the MCU.
Of course you do.
You agreed to this, right?
I did.
All right, so y'all all know I'm a gigantic MCU fan. Go and see my Marvel ranking somewhere above our heads. Just to hear a little bit. I've got more from the MCU coming y'all's way. Stay tuned to Crossing Kin this year.
And it's a universe that's very, very much alive right now and will continue to be so. We highly recommend that you break this thing up into
the phases.
And even if you watch them in their phases, it's going to take you a
12
significant
hours
amount
apiece.
Of time to watch them. So if you're going to watch them on a New Year's Eve celebration, start
the
about
week
10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Start the week before, guys. Start the
Absolutely.
week before.
Yeah. But they're worth it.
Yeah.
They're worth it. Find the way that you want to watch it. There's 2 different ways. You can watch them in the way the movie's released, or you can watch them in chronological order, which is absolutely fascinating.
And then throw in the TV shows just to have a little bit of extra fun.
Absolutely. Since you're investing that much time, go ahead and catch Loki. Go and catch WandaVision.
Sky.
Absolutely.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
You bet.
The other things that have come out. Throw in What If you're feeling a little bit spicy.
If you're feeling like you want your head separated from the rest of your body.
Enjoy What If.
I do enjoy it. It's just wonderful. You know, What If is what would happen if the Twilight Zone met Marvel.
And it's glorious.
And it's wonderful.
All right. Moving right along. We're up to number 1. And this should not be a surprise to anybody who has watched Crossing Kin for the last 2 years.
It's been a while since we made this list.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a freaking Star Wars month here every year on Crossing Kin.
We do.
Star Wars month is already planned out for this year.
We have to say, just as an aside, we love Skeleton Crew, by the way.
Oh my goodness, we've got to hold our thoughts on Skeleton Crew because we've got reviews for that coming with Star Wars month. But yes, it's delightful and delicious.
It is good. Star Wars. Original 4, 5, and 6. Then you go to the prequels. Then you go to the sequels. Then you just bring in Clone Wars. And you bring in lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! No, wait, hold it. That's a different series that we didn't include because I haven't seen Wicked yet. Sorry. Okay, but Star Wars is number 1, and I think Star Wars is the sensible number 1 for most folks. I struggle letting it be number 1 over Bond because Bond was first. But the more we talked about it, the more Kristen convinced me that it probably does because it was so epic and mind-blowing and just movie changing when it came out.
Well, let's be honest. This was kind of the first full-on interconnected universe of things, like continuous story in very long form. And I mean continuous. Bond doesn't have a continuous story.
That's true.
4, 5, and 6. Then you go back, you get Anakin's story. Then you get the side plots with Rogue One, with Solo. Then you've also got 7, 8, and 9, which kind of round it out. And I think either late this year or early next year, we're getting more from Daisy Ridley as Rey.
Right, and you've got Dave Filoni and
Jon Favreau,
who have really done
great things with Star Wars television.
Incredible things. Mandalorian is coming to the big screen soon. You know, it is one of those film franchises that deserve to be number 1. John Williams. What more do you need?
And John Williams did the scores. That's just the cherry on top. That is Star Wars. Yes, people have issues, and we've talked about our own issues with Star Wars before. Go see one of our Star Wars month playlists to see what our issues are. But you know what? That doesn't stop our complete and total enjoyment of the series.
Nor does it stop anyone else's complete and total enjoyment of, I mean, people talk more about Star Wars than they do their own families sometimes at Christmas. Not us necessarily,
not us.
But there is a reason. Star Wars sets so many standards of movie making and so many standards of storytelling, so many standards of musical backdrops being a character of the movie. We've talked time and time again about how the music of this film series impacts the storyline. It is a character into itself, and we just can't say enough. Star Wars deserves to be number 1.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our picks for the top 20 film franchises. Yes, we apologize for how long this video is.
Again, these are films, franchises that we know and love.
Mhm.
We probably have left out some things.
Let us know yours down in the comment section below and give us ideas for some franchises that you guys think we might love to check out.
Absolutely. We're always looking for the next film franchise. So, but from the Crossing King Garage,
I'm Kristen.
we're glad you're part of the family. I'm Randy. We'll talk to you later.